All right, let's dive right into what can be a really tough, but also a really important topic. We're going to talk about those painful relationships, and this could be personal or it could be professional, that just make you feel trapped. And most importantly, we're going to map out the way to break free.
You know, this quote from psychotherapist Giancarlo DiMaggio, it just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It perfectly captures that strange, painful feeling. You've poured your time, your hopes, your everything into something that felt like a dream. But now, it's just draining you. And even when you can see the exit, that open door, walking through it feels almost impossible, like you're failing the dream you once had.
So, to start, it is so important to just validate that feeling of being stuck. Our first section is called the invisible cage, or la gabbia invisible, as it is in the original text. And that phrase is just perfect. It's the feeling of being trapped in a dynamic that slowly, quietly chips away at your well being, often in ways that are hard for other people, and sometimes even for you to really see clearly.
Okay, so now that we've acknowledged the cage, let's take a closer look at its bars. In this next section, Anatomy of a Toxic Relationship, we're basically going to dissect what makes a relationship poisonous in the first place. You know, to escape the trap, you first have to understand how it was built, piece by painful piece. So what do we even mean when we say toxic relationship? Look, it's fundamentally destructive. It's a bond where the whole dynamic isn't just a little unhealthy, it's actively harmful. Instead of building you up and being a source of support, it systematically breaks down your self-esteem and just leaves you feeling completely and utterly exhausted.
And when you put it side by side like this, the contrast is just, wow, it's night and day, right? On one side, you've got a healthy relationship, it's a partnership, there's mutual respect, real support, and you feel free to just be you. But on the other side, you see this clear imbalance of power. Control, jealousy, and isolation start creeping in, and you begin to lose your own sense of who you are. One empowers you, the other one puts you in a box.
And these are the warning signs to look out for. And honestly, it often starts small. You might find yourself pulling away from friends and family, maybe because your partner makes it difficult, or maybe you just don't have the energy anymore. A constant lack of trust becomes the new normal. And pretty soon, you stop feeling like your own person, and the relationship just feels like this heavy weight that takes way, way more than it gives.
Now, here's a really crucial point. These toxic dynamics are not just for romantic relationships. Oh no. In our third section, The Many Faces of Manipulation, we'll see how these exact same destructive patterns show up everywhere, especially in the workplace, where power imbalances can make them even worse. This image just says it all, doesn't it? Manipulation isn't just about a disagreement. It is all about control. The entire goal is to wear down another person's psyche to the point where they become easy to manage, almost like a puppet whose strings are being pulled by someone else.
You know, manipulators can be incredibly charming and really hard to spot at first, but their behavior tends to follow a pattern. They almost never take responsibility, right? It's always someone else's fault. They criticize and judge to keep you off balance. They might play the victim to make you feel guilty or just flat out lie and twist reality to confuse you. When you see a consistent pattern here, that's a huge red flag that you're in a manipulative dynamic. In a professional setting, this can get really specific. One tactic is called mobbing, and this isn't just bullying. It's like a coordinated, systematic campaign of psychological warfare from a group to force someone out. And then there's gaslighting, which is just so insidious. This is where someone intentionally twists reality to make you question your own memory, your perception, even your own sanity. They make you feel like you're the one who's losing it.
And this is the question that keeps so many people stuck. We can see the red flags, we can identify the manipulative behavior, but we still feel powerless. So why is that? Well, the answer doesn't really lie with the manipulator. It lies within ourselves.
And that brings us right to the heart of the matter and to our fourth section. The key to understanding why we're so vulnerable, and believe it or not, the key to breaking free, is not about focusing on them. It's about turning inward. The key is self-esteem.
Psychologists have a term for this, dysestima. It's more than just having a bad day. It's a really deep-seated feeling of inadequacy. And when you're in that state, you have zero confidence in yourself and you become super sensitive to any kind of criticism. This state of low self-esteem, well, it's the fertile ground where manipulation and control can really take root.
And this creates a devastating feedback loop, a terrible self-fulfilling prophecy. When you don't believe in yourself, you kind of project that insecurity, and a manipulator just latches right onto it. Their criticism confirms your deepest fears about yourself, which then tanks your self-esteem even more, making you even more dependent on them. It's a vicious, self-perpetuating cycle. But, and this is a big but, that cycle can be broken. This brings us to our final and honestly our most important section, building the way out. We've understood the cage. We've understood the cycle that keeps us there. So now let's talk about the actual actionable steps you can take to dismantle it, break free, and take back your life.
Okay, so the process starts with external actions. You got to create some distance. First, and look, this is the hardest part for so many people, you have to admit the relationship is toxic and stop making excuses for the other person's behavior. Then you set firm boundaries. No contact is usually best if you can do it. Reconnect with those friends and family you might have drifted from. You're going to need that support. And finally, rediscover yourself. Get back into hobbies and passions that are just for you.
At the very same time, you have to start the internal work of rebuilding. You've got to consciously limit that harsh inner critic that's been turned up to full volume by the toxic dynamic. Take care of your body, exercise, eat well, get some sleep. Start looking for validation from inside yourself, not from other people. And this is a big one. Learn to actually enjoy your own company again. Solitude isn't loneliness. It's a chance to remember who you are. So here's the bottom line. One of the biggest traps is thinking you can fix or change the manipulator. You can't. The only way out is to shift your focus completely off of them and onto yourself. Your energy is your most valuable resource. Stop spending it on them and start investing it in your own healing and your own growth.
Look, breaking free is a journey. It's not a single event. It takes awareness, it takes a ton of courage, and a real commitment to your own well-being. We've laid out the map for you here, but only you can take that first liberating step. So the question is, what's your first step going to be?